UFO sightings, they kind of grab our attention, don't they? Spark our curiosity, and sometimes they just leave us with more questions than answers.
That's the truth.
And that is exactly why we are diving into the Exeter incident today.
Ooh, good one.
You brought us a whole stack of articles about this.
I did.
And I have to admit, I'm already hooked. September 3rd, 1965, in Exeter, New Hampshire. Not exactly Roswell, right?
Not quite.
But that's what makes this case so intriguing to me, you know? This small, seemingly ordinary town, it just becomes the center of something truly unexplained.
It really does flip the script on, what we typically think of as a UFO hotspot.
Yeah.
We're not talking about vast deserts or remote military bases.
Right.
This happened in a place where folks probably thought the most exciting thing was the annual town fair or something.
Exactly. So let's set the scene a little bit. Imagine a crisp New England evening. Okay. Our story begins with this guy, Norman Muscarello, and he's just walking along Route 150 when he encounters something that would change his life forever. So what did he actually see?
Okay, so picture this, all right. A massive red object just hovering in the sky, completely silent.
Whoa.
And it's moving in ways that defied any airplane he had ever seen.
Oh, wow.
He described it as erratic, almost playful.
Playful.
Yeah, which just adds this really unsettling kind of creepy layer to the whole encounter.
That detail, that sends chills down my spine. Playful. I don't like that. So he sees the strange object. What does he do? What's his next move?
Well, he's understandably freaked out, right? I mean, wouldn't you be? So he flags down a police car.
Okay.
Now, you might think the officer would kind of brush him off,
Yeah, I would think so.
But that is not what happened at all.
Wait, so the police take him seriously?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, okay. That's a far cry from, the Men in Black,
Totally, yeah. The officer actually went to the location with Muscarello.
Wow.
And guess what?
What?
He saw it too.
Oh, wait.
And this is where things really start to snowball.
Oh, this is where it gets good. Come on. Tell me.
So Muscarello's report, combined with the officer's confirmation, it opened the floodgates.
Yeah.
More and more people in and around Exeter start coming forward with their own stories.
Really?
We're talking residents, other police officers, all describing these strange lights, objects in the sky. It became this chain reaction of sightings.
Whoa.
And the town was buzzing. I mean,
Right.
buzzing with speculation.
So we have multiple witnesses, including law enforcement. I mean, that changes everything. It's not just one person's word against another. It sounds like Exeter had become this UFO magnet where all the accounts identical.
Not exactly. And that's another piece of the puzzle that makes it so compelling, right? There were variations. Some saw red lights.
Okay.
Others described white or even blue hues. Some objects were described as disc-shaped.
Uh-huh.
Others more cigar-like.
Oh, interesting.
But there were these key consistencies,
Yeah.
these threads that run through all the reports. The size, the silent movement, and that strange, erratic behavior.
Okay, so variations on a theme, but with a core set of details that keep popping up. So this isn't just mass hysteria or, people seeing things.
Right.
It feels like there's something genuinely unexplained happening here. Is there a particular account that stands out to you from all the others?
There's this chilling account from a woman who lives on a farm just outside of town.
Okay.
She reported seeing this massive glowing object hovering directly over her property.
Wow.
She claimed it was so close, she could feel the heat radiating from it.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine
I go,
looking at your window and just seeing that? So it went from this distant light in the sky to practically being in her backyard. How does her experience connect with what Muscarello and the officer saw? Was it the same object, or were there multiple things in the Exeter skies that night?
that is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
While her description of the object's color and shape differs slightly from Muscarello's,
Okay.
the commonalities,
Yeah.
the size, the silence, that bizarre movement are just too strong to ignore.
Yeah.
It's almost like they were all witnessing different facets of the same phenomenon.
So we have a small town, it's in a frenzy, all these sightings, the police are involved, and there's this growing sense that something extraordinary is happening. What was the official response? Surely someone higher up took notice.
Oh, absolutely. Word got out,
Mm-hmm.
and the Air Force, always keen on keeping tabs on unexplained aerial activity, launched an investigation into the Exeter incident. They interviewed witnesses, combed through reports, collected any data they could, but their conclusion,
What was it?
natural phenomena.
Natural phenomena. Seriously. That seems like a pretty big leap considering, like the number of credible witnesses
Right.
and the consistency of their accounts.
Yeah.
I mean, what were they attributing it to? Like stars, weather balloons?
They were a bit vague on the specifics,
Hmm.
which, only fueled the skepticism
Yeah,
surrounding their findings.
totally.
Many people believe they were kind of like downplaying the incident,
Yeah.
perhaps to, I don't know, avoid public panic or to cover up something they couldn't explain.
I can see why people wouldn't just accept that,
Yeah.
It's like saying, oh, that wasn't a UFO. It was just a particularly sparkly cloud, you know?
Right.
It feels dismissive,
Yeah.
especially given the details in the reports.
Yeah, and we have to remember the context of the time, too,
Yeah.
right? Like, the understanding of unidentified aerial phenomena,
Mm-hmm.
it was in its infancy.
Right.
Their investigative tools were limited, and there was a lot of pressure during the Cold War
Yeah.
to maintain a sense of control and order.
So while they might have had their reasons,
Yeah.
it doesn't really address the core mystery.
Right.
What about, like, alternative theories,
Yeah.
Did any of the articles explore other explanations for what happened in Exeter?
Oh, there's no shortage of theories.
Okay.
Extraterrestrial visitation, of course,
Yeah.
is the one that always captures the imagination, right?
Right.
Could these objects have been alien spacecraft observing our planet?
Yeah.
Why Exeter?
Yeah.
What would their purpose be?
Right.
Those questions are so tantalizing, and the lack of a definitive answer
Yeah.
keeps that possibility alive.
It's the question that has haunted humanity for centuries, right?
Oh, yeah.
Are we alone?
Exactly.
But alien visitors, I mean, that's a big leap, right?
Sure.
What about something more grounded?
Yeah.
Were there any explanations that involved, like, human technologies,
Yeah.
a bit closer to home?
Some speculate that it could have been, like experimental aircraft
Uh-huh.
or some kind of secret military technology being tested.
Okay.
Maybe something so advanced, so far ahead of its time that it appeared otherworldly to those who witnessed it.
Right.
And that might explain the government's reluctance to reveal the truth.
That makes sense. But if it were human technology,
Yeah.
wouldn't someone somewhere have come forward with, more concrete evidence by now?
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
I would.
And that's one of the holes in this theory.
Okay.
The sources we have, they don't mention any leaked documents
Right.
or whistleblowers confirming this.
Yeah.
Plus, the object silent movement, as described by, many witnesses,
Yeah.
that was far beyond any known technology in 1965.
You're right. The silence is a key detail
Right.
that keeps coming up.
It's spooky.
Yeah, it
It's-
adds to the mystery, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't just the light in the sky. It
Right.
was something massive and completely silent,
Yeah.
defying our understanding of physics and propulsion.
And to add another layer to this, we can't forget that Exeter wasn't an isolated incident.
That's right.
You had similar sightings reported around the same time period,
Yeah.
not
yeah.
just in the U.S., but around the world.
That's right. I remember reading about, like, this wave of UFO sightings in the 60s.
Exactly.
Were there any connections made between those events and Exeter?
Whether they're directly related is still up for debate,
Okay.
but it certainly feeds into this idea
Yeah.
that something unusual was happening on a larger scale.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, was Exeter just one piece of a much bigger puzzle?
So we've got multiple witnesses, a government investigation that left many unconvinced,
Yeah.
and a range of theories that span from the extraterrestrial to the technological.
Mm-hmm.
But the story doesn't end there, does it?
It does not.
There's more to uncover.
There is.
What happened after the initial wave of sightings?
So there's this fascinating, epilogue to this story.
Okay.
A few months after the September events,
Huh?
there was another sighting in Exeter,
Really?
and this one added a whole new dimension to the mystery.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat.
All right.
Tell me everything. What did they see this time?
This time, witnesses described a large triangular object
Whoa.
moving silently
Yeah.
and with incredible agility over the town.
Wow.
It wasn't just lights in the sky anymore.
Yeah.
This was a clearly defined shape,
But
and it sparked a whole new wave of speculation and questions.
a triangular object. Now, that's interesting. I've read about, similar triangular UFO sighting
Yes.
in other cases.
Yeah.
Is there a connection?
Who knows?
Does this recurring shape, point to a specific type of technology
Yeah.
or phenomenon?
It's a question that has baffled researchers for years.
Yeah.
Some believe that the triangle shape might be indicative of, advanced stealth technology,
Okay.
potentially human-made.
Right.
Others point to the prevalence of this shape in, UFO lore
Uh-huh.
and suggest it might be something far more exotic.
It's like a signature, almost. Yeah.
And the fact that it appeared in Exeter,
Right.
a location already buzzing with UFO activity,
Exactly.
just adds fuel to the fire.
For sure.
Does the recurrence of sightings in this specific area suggest something unique about Exeter?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it leads us to the heart of the mystery.
Ooh, okay.
What is it about Exeter
Yeah.
that seemed to attract these unexplained aerial phenomena?
Right.
Was it random chance?
Oh.
Or was there something about the location, the time,
Yeah.
or even the people involved
Right.
that made it a focal point for these events?
After all this, my head is spinning.
I know, it's a lot.
We've got so many pieces to this puzzle,
Uh-huh.
but no clear picture of what actually happened.
Yeah.
It's like we're looking through a fogged-up window,
Yeah.
catching glimpses of something extraordinary.
Right. But unable to fully grasp its true nature. It feels like we're right on the verge of understanding, and yet the answer is still elusive. What do you think, after all this time, what's the biggest mystery surrounding the Exeter incident?
For me, it's the lack of a definitive explanation.
Yeah.
You have these compelling eyewitness accounts from, credible individuals, including law enforcement.
Right.
They all describe similar objects, movements, experiences, and that level of detail and consistency, it makes it really hard to dismiss.
Yeah.
And yet, despite decades of research speculation, we still don't have a conclusive answer.
It's almost like the more we learn, the deeper the mystery becomes.
Yeah.
It's like peeling back layers of an onion only to find, like, more layers underneath.
Exactly.
It's a bit frustrating,
It can be.
but also incredibly fascinating, right?
For sure.
What do you think keeps people coming back to stories like this,
Mm.
even after all these years?
I think it's the enduring power of the unknown. The Exeter incident forces us to confront, the limits of our understanding.
Yeah.
It reminds us that there are things in this world, in this universe, that we may never fully comprehend.
Yeah.
And that can be unsettling,
Yeah.
but it can also be incredibly liberating.
It's like a reminder that we don't have all the answers, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Keeps us humble, keeps us curious, keeps us looking up at the stars and wondering.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe someday new evidence will come to light,
Yeah.
sheds more light on the events of that night.
Yeah.
Until then, the Exeter incident will remain one of the most intriguing, enduring UFO cases in history.
Okay, so before we wrap things up, I gotta ask.
Yeah.
What stands out to you the most about this case? What's like the one thing that makes the Exeter incident so compelling?
It's the convergence of the ordinary and the extraordinary.
Okay.
You have this, seemingly normal town going about its daily business, and suddenly, bam, it becomes this focal point for something completely unexplained.
Yeah.
It's that jarring contrast, that disruption of normalcy that I find so captivating. It makes you realize that the impossible might be closer than we think.
Yeah, it reminds us that the universe is full of surprises, and that even in our modern world, with all our technology and knowledge, there are still mysteries that defy explanation.
Precisely. And that's a good thing. Keeps us curious, keeps us exploring, keeps us looking up at the stars and wondering.
Oh, well said. So, to our listeners out there, as you go about your day, maybe look up at the sky a little more often,
Yeah.
Who knows what you might see. And if you do see something strange, something you can't explain, don't dismiss it. Document it, share it, and keep the spirit of inquiry alive.
Remember, the most important questions are often the ones that don't have easy answers.
Right?
And sometimes the journey itself is more rewarding than the destination.
That's a great point. We've talked about eyewitness accounts, government investigations, and a host of theories. But perhaps the true value of the Exeter incident lies not in finding a definitive answer, but in how it changes our perspective, how it opens our minds to the possibilities, and how it inspires us to keep searching for truth, even when it eludes us.
Beautifully said. It's a reminder that the universe is vast, complex, and full of wonders that we may never fully comprehend. And that in itself is a beautiful and humbling thought.
Well, on that note, we'll wrap up our deep dive into the Exeter incident. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep looking up.